Welcome. I'm ScottsCaseFiles, and above me are the awesomest players ever. They're the stars of the show, the stars of Dune, House Gildrun. Yes, please vogue. Everyone needs to vogue at least once. It's important. Playing Modiphius's Dune Adventures in the Imperium, a 2D20 game. So yeah, this will be our first actual play session. So I'm going to take just a little time to introduce not only our players, but our characters. But first, because I will forget, we're going to do the intro movie real quick. I'm kind of infamous for that whole forgetting the intro movie. So let's do that quick. And when we come back, we'll learn about our players and our characters. So hold tight.
A secret report from within the Spacing Guild. A prescient nexus has been discovered surrounding a house minor. There are so many possibilities that we have no vision. A fourth-stage navigator was sent to Orbot to investigate. It is a house of entertainers, actors, dancers, and yet they also trade in secrets and favors. All prescient roads lead to one place for this house minor. Arrakis, home of the spice melange. The observation of House Gildrun continues.
All right, cool. All right, I did it. We're good to go. Things are good. So let's say hi to our players. We kind of, last session, session 0, we kind of got I think a pretty good idea about what each character was looking for, what they were wanting, but hadn't completely firmed things out. I'm not sure things are completely firmed out this time either, but that's what session 1 is for, to kind of get a feel of, is this working for me? So why don't we start over here? Say hi to Jonathan.
Hey, what's up? I'm Jonathan. Do you want me to just introduce myself or my character?
Yeah, introduce you. I can only do so much heavy lifting for you, Jonathan. Okay, just introduce your damn self. You got this.
Okay.
Yes, introduce yourself, the character, and anything else you'd like to discuss about it. It's cool. Please.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm good.
Okay.
We're fine. Yep. Anytime. Okay. I'm done. Okay. I'm good.
Okay. I'm Jonathan Swadley. You can find me on Twitter at Jonathan Swadley. I'm a writer and freelancer, and I do stuff in TTRPGs, so go check some of that out. I've done some micro RPGs and stuff for the Dungeon Masters Guild as well for 5e. So I am playing a aging swordsman turned strategist named Jindo, last name to be determined. And yeah, Jindo is kind of a gruff old wolf. He's having to learn the hard way that there's more to life than dueling. The one thing he's pretty good at. So the thing he's less good, better at, is strategy and canly and sort of the more political and espionage and intrigue aspects of living in the Imperium. So I'm excited to get to play this character. So
cool, and play them you will. Awesome. All right, how about Danielle? Hi, Danielle.
Hello, I am Danielle, and as you saw in the opening credits, I go by Ryrak and Tor on Twitch and Twitter. You can find me there. I also am a writer, and I game, and I talk about tabletops and just post pictures of my dog. That's always fun. You can find me there. I will be playing Anaya Reyes, who is a Bene Gesserit sister, just a sister, not a Reverend Mother. and she has come to House Gildrun as sort of a peace offering from the Sisterhood in order to make better relations between the house and the Sisterhood. So she's here to sort of be useful and do a job. And so as part of that, she is putting her Prada Bindu conditioning to work as a dancer for the house. And also as something of a diva slash kind of courtesan-y social skills, where she will, be someone's date for the night as needed. And yeah, she is quite ambitious, although she keeps it to herself. And she has a lot of. She's very young, and she has a lot of places to go. Let's just put it that way.
Excellent, very cool. And I'm sure we'll be exploring like what happened that Anaya is, the bridging the gap between the Bene Gesserit and House Gildrun, etc. So we'll be exploring that without question. So excellent. And next we have Tinker Gnome.
Hey guys, I'm Tinker Gnome, Susan. I craft. I work tech support. I have 2 awesome pets of a dog and the asshole of a cat.
They're all assholes. It's fine.
Yeah. Like I said, I like to do some crafting. I like to play a lot of board games and video games. But most of the time, I'm just bitching out in front of the TV. I'm playing Reza Tavik. She was formerly of another minor house, but she won't tell what it was. She refuses to tell people her real name. But her father, as the only heir, sent her to Mintat school because he thought it would be helpful for their house. And while she was there, a troupe from Gildrun showed up to put on a play, and she just felt like she found her calling, that she wanted to be an actress. So instead of doing a lot of Mintat projections with numbers, she started memorizing everything: books, movies, poetry, all this stuff, and decided to escape to be part of House Gildrun. While she's there, she's actually getting trained, and she's learning to be a spy for the house. So.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. And where will she go from there? Who knows? Will she realize her full mentatum? Will she become a singer in a choir? We don't know. Will she become, head of the troupe? These are things we will discover as time goes on. Excellent. Awesome. Thank you, Tigger. And last but not least, we have Steve.
Just Steve.
Hi,
Steve. Played in a few of Scott's games before, including one of his longer-running Dune games using Firefly system. I will be playing Castian de Templar. He is a former son of House Gildrun. He was, like the 5th son, so way down the list. And when one of the heirs got assassinated, he decided that he was going to do something, and that was to be more active in protecting the house. So he joined the Templars, who, unlike maybe the days of old, who are, crusaders, rampaging across the land, they have now gone back to their roots as a protective organization, and they train some of the best bodyguards, and they take money for it. So they're not exactly completely pious. But they do have a strong religious component. So I've come back in service of the house and eventually want to be the captain of the guard.
Awesome. And as a note to any viewers out there, if in chat you put exclamation point and then the character's first name, it'll give you a link to their World Anvil sheet, which has you can see their stats. It'll take you to you can actually click on another link and it'll take you to their actual character page that they control. World Anvil is very interesting in the sense that what do you call it, when the player joins a campaign, the player keeps complete 100% control over whatever they do. So it's like I can't actually change anything. They could technically withdraw themselves from the whole thing if they wanted to. So it'll take you to that page where actually you can see their sheet in addition, just like you saw before, and in addition to journal, diary entries if they end up doing that. I encourage that, by the way. I'm willing to pay advancement points for in-character diary entries, by the way. So keep that in mind. And just other notes and things that they pop, and whatever comes to their mind, whatever they want to share about their characters, that's the place they can share it, and you see all that as much as they'd like you to. So right, there's that. So House Gildrun, as we've established, is a house that makes the bulk of their income via art, high-end shows, performers, etc. As we kind of solidified in session 0. It's like it's not a party until it's not a really high-end event until House Gildrun shows up. You really haven't seen a performing troupe until you've seen a Gildrun troupe. And if you just don't have it, well, you just don't have it, basically. So that's kind of their main thing. Secondarily, because they tend to, hobnob with a whole bunch of real important people, and people in those positions tend to, talk. They also tend to deal in secrets, favors, earning favor, curtailing favor with other houses, other people, etc. So that's House Gildrun. I figure we'll kind of jump right in. Is there anything else, anything any of you wanted to kind of bring up at all, or before we kind of get into it? Anything you wanted to know? This is session 1. This is our first actual play session. It was just character creation up until now. Anybody can create a character. But can they play it? Gosh darn right they can. Damn right. All right, well, let's jump into it then. Nothing being said. So yes, tonight, House Gildrun, or your troupe. We should probably figure out a troupe name. Like, they have to have designations. You just can't say troupe 025 or whatever, etc. We'll figure out a troupe name yet. But it's been a good night. You and your troupe find yourselves on the moon of Suvan. It's a moon around the planet Thrumble, and it is a home of House Annex. House Annex is the moon is pretty much ocean with a spattering of islands, and I can put all this in chat and stuff. But you can find this all in the World Anvil, but I'll pop some stuff here and there. And so you can they basically the idea behind them is they specialize, their main income is from shield belts, these custom jobs. The idea that the ocean waves kind of influence not only the craft of how they make them, because these are the pretty ones. These are the ones that you wait, in line 3 years to get. And these artisans are in high demand. That's their thing. So you sell entertainment. They sell, pieces of art that are also functional as shield belts. They also understand shield technology. And again, it has something to do with, the waves somehow going with the Holtzman effect, et cetera, that creates the shield effect, et cetera. So they do pretty well for themselves, and you find themselves in their main family's castle, and of course, it's like I said, it's on the ocean. Of course, it is. The night is, you're at a point. The dinner has already been served. That people are digesting. Some of them still have their aperitifs in hand, or digestifs. Excuse me, digestif. After aperitif, before dinner, there are digestifs in hand, these little tiny glasses with some kind of fruity liqueur in them. The lights are low. There's an audience, there's a stage that's lit up, and things are relatively quiet. Suddenly there's a pick at a balisette, this several layered plectera flicks over several of the strings on several of the soundboards, and suddenly there's this wonderful, calming music. Not too long later, a young woman appears from behind the they call it stage curtain, and just as she comes out, she opens her mouth, and this sound comes out. This beautiful melodic sounds made by angels as they weep, and though everyone is just entranced, kind of, unable to take their eyes off of the stage. Now that's for the really rich people. Now you also have guards along the circumference of the room. The few candles and other suspensor lamps that are lit occasionally reflect, and you see like the shimmer of a shield, etc., etc. In fact, I'm going to put this because it's easier just for me to post links at this time. I don't know how I'm going to end up doing it, but I'm going to post this both in Roll20 and on chat. So let me do that real quick for y'all. And that gives you a look at the kind of the person who just popped out on stage. And again, I'm a very on the table type of GM, so I'm not looking to. There are secrets that I'll hide from you, but I don't care if you see someone's stats, etc., etc. So you get to see the character. This is Alexis Deimos, and she is your prime diva. She even outranks Anaya in that, but not by much. And depending on who you ask, maybe Anaya should have usurped that position already. But that's internal troop politics, right, at this point. So yeah, that's kind of the scene. So where are each of you when this is happening?
So Castian would be standing probably amongst the House Annex guards, but keeping an eye on the scene and specifically the any of the players or any of the house members that are sitting, with guests or with dinner. And periodically he, will wander backstage and just take a look around.
Okay. Can you describe Castian for us, by the way? We don't know what he looks like.
Sure. Castian is tall. He's about 6'5". Usually when the eye is drawn to him, it's drawn, up and then up a little further, because he usually has the hilt of a greatsword, above his right shoulder. It's an unusual weapon, but it's something that the Templars do train in, and he took a liking to. Dirty blonde hair, shaved beard, lightly, just like scruff of a beard, well groomed, but still present. Usually red and white outfit. He goes for like a red cloak, usually white pants. There's usually a Templar emblem somewhere on his outfit, as well as the House Gildrun emblem and crest.
Awesome. Cool. I'm assuming Castian is shielded at generally all times, or at least regularly?
Yeah.
Okay.
And out of character I assume that's visible or noticeable in some way, or is it not?
Yeah. So, and I kind of, again, I'm a purist in the sense I go from the Herbert books, Frank Herbert, excuse me. I should really need to reference that. But I kind of take my kind of hints from there. So generally there's like levels of shield. If you're like ready to fight, your shield is at the highest level, and yes, it's visible in it can be visible if you see it from a right angle. There's like a little shimmer, a distortion of features and body through the shield. The shield is also referenced at being at really low levels but still active, like the Baron when he was attacked with the poison tooth. It never really says his shield is on, but his shield is on. It's never noticeable. It's at a very low level enough to like stop someone from shooting something at him, etc., etc., but not enough to really survive a great fight. But yes, so there's higher and lower levels. I'm going to assume that Castian is generally erring towards the higher side. Mechanics-wise, there is no difference. If a shield is on, a shield is on. But for flavor and context, I just want to put that out there.
So as long as you weren't going with lens shielding, I was okay with whatever your decision was.
Excellent. All right, awesome. How about Reza? Where's Reza at during this scene?
I figure Reza is maybe among the crowd, just kind of making friends, talking, hobnobbing, like we kind of decided last week on a bit. Just, trying to get to know people and seeing how they're enjoying the show and, trying to just be very friendly. More like flirtatious.
Okay, but kind of moving around and mingling as opposed to staying with one person the entire time. Little few words here and there, and then move on.
Yeah, like she recognizes, who some of the more important people are in the crowd, and usually kind of tries to be in their kind of sphere of influence for a little bit, and then kind of moves on to another one.
Perfect. Okay, what does Reza look like? We haven't met her yet.
She's rather short. She's about 5'2", but she weighs around 135. She's very voluptuous, kind of for her size. Like she can wear something fairly scanty and still look really good. Like she doesn't look trashy in any way. She's got like a brunette wig on that's got kind of curls and kind of comes down over her shoulders. And she wears a large ornate gold bracelet on one wrist. That's actually a poison snooper as well, porcelain poison snooper. She's kind of done up and made up, and she looks kind of glitzy.
Cool, excellent. I know, and as a note to any viewers, we do note that you're a mentat, but I remember we talked, and you specifically said that Reza was like allergic to the juice of Sefu. Hence why there are no stained lips on this mentat. No
and she also
obvious mentat things.
Right, and she also likes to. She's got normally like gray eyes, but she has contacts that make it look like she's under a lot of spice influence. So she's kind of the fake Fremen in style thing of having the blue and blue, even though they're not real.
Sure. Yeah, that definitely brings you up a few pegs on someone's eyes. If you're viewed as having enough money to have enough spice regularly in your diet to actually have that look. So yeah, really cool. Nice affectation. I like that. Cool. How about Inaya? What's Inaya doing during this scene? Besides hating Alexis Deimos in every fashion.
Probably ignoring Alexis, honestly. But so Inaya, as she does, will have attached herself to one of the most important people she can here. So that could be, if there's an heir of the house, or that is preferably single, but someone who she can effectively be their date for the evening. And she's not necessarily picky about gender either. So she's equally happy to be the date for a man or a woman. But so she will have picked someone of appropriate rank to be like her mark for the evening, and is probably seated next to them. I think because she's not on stage at the moment, / perhaps is not going on for a while, if at all tonight, she's probably wearing like really nice clothes. Like I'm imagining like a dress that almost looks like it's made out of mirror shards. So she just like glitters as she walks, and she's like the center of attention, like she wants to be. And like her hair, she has long brown hair, but it's like bound up into like a really nice, like intricate do, to match the really fancy dress that she has. She's got the kind of thin but very muscled frame that you see on dancers. Like, she's not carrying a lot of extra body weight, but you can see like when she moves that there are a lot of muscles in her arms and in her legs, because dancing takes a lot of control.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And that's probably
look at my dance form right here. This is I'm in my prime.
But yeah, she's probably found like a nice flute of champagne or similar liquor and is, having a nice conversation with whoever she's attached herself to for the evening and kind of, laughing and having a good time. And yeah, trying to ignore, politely paying attention, but also sort of ignoring Alexis.
Excellent. So you've walked into my NPC trap. I already have one prepared for you.
Perfect.
So yes, I'll pop that up there for chat also. So yeah, this you've found yourself on the arm of Carter Nom. He is a dilettante social climber type. He's not the man, but he wants to be. And in Anaya, it doesn't take a Bene Gesserit to see that, like, he's just one of those, who's going to fall all the way off the ladder someday and splat on the ground type of thing. He just doesn't have it. But he thinks he does, as most of those do. So there you go. Cool. And I'm putting these both on chat and in Roll20 for everyone's benefit. I'm sure I'll find a better way to do that, but for now that works pretty decently, I think. And then kind of use the strength of World Anvil to my advantage as best I can. Anyway, cool, awesome. How about Jindo? What's Jindo doing?
So we've established there are digestifs. Surely there's a bar.
Oh, absolutely.
So I imagine Jindo is probably, paying attention, from a polite standpoint. But he is probably, talking about some, sports or something with other politicians who are kind of around this bar area. Being polite, being, a level of decorum is held, but he is. He's here in his sort of dress military uniform. He is he's older. He's got black hair, but there's a lot of gray throughout it, and the beard. He is kind of like, I kind of model his look, or I think of his look as sort of like similar to that of like Admiral Delgado from The Expanse, if you've watched The Expanse, where he has that kind of like, he's moving into that sort of role, that sort of position of advisor. And he's just kind of chatting up with whoever else is around the bar and drinking whiskey or something whiskey adjacent.
Fair enough. I keep forgetting to ask. So Reza and Jindo, are you wearing shields presently? Is it your thing?
I am wearing one. Like, I have a shield belt, but it is not on currently.
Reza probably does not have hers on because it clashed with her outfit.
That's fair. How about Anaya?
I think Anaya probably has hers on her person somewhere hidden, but not on at the moment, and is relying on her reflexes to get her out of trouble if trouble were to arise. I feel like it's almost rude to like have your shield on if you're the guest. Almost like it's a statement in you not trusting the security of your host. And she would rather be caught dead than commit a faux pas.
Cool. And as I kind of discussed in session 0, that preface of the shield belt is a great way to bring in a temporary asset. So, like, if you have the 2 momentum you're willing to spend, or 2 threat, or whatever, you can say, "Oh, I carried in my purse," it's my clutch, or whatever the heck Anaya has, backpack, carrying case. I don't know, but anyway, one of those. Yeah, so you can, that's an easy way to create a temporary asset should you need to, etc. So just putting it out there. I am trying to get back into, like, I'm still learning this game. I think all my players are also, where we don't quite get it all yet. It's a lot to take in, but we're slowly osmosising it by sleeping on the book in the PDF or whatever. But what I do try to do is I do try to make my streams into kind of teaching streams. If I have a teaching moment I can put out there for viewers to get them into the game and get them interested so that they can see like the game in motion, how we're doing things, etc., I will. So please excuse those asides as I try to bring that into the session. Awesome. So, Jindo, I'll give you activate another NPC. I just have a bevy of them. I have way more than I expected I'd be needing, but here we are. Put that there. Put that there. So, Barrage Neef. He's a larger man, not nimble by any means, but he is like your troop manager. He's the one that gets you from place to place, that tries to manage all the drama between the... I mean, like, seriously, these are performers and artists. There's egos everywhere, and he is the guy that needs to kind of keep everybody in check and not, poisoning each other, which has happened, of course. But yeah, so he's that guy. And as Jindo is kind of up against the bar, conversing, he gives you that look. It's like this look that he doesn't even have to say anything, but it means you're talking during the performance again. Stop it.
I sort of give him a curved nod, and I look back to my the whoever I was conversing with, and just sort of and put eyes on the stage again. And what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you have this unspoken, like almost like sign language for him scolding you. It's like watch the don't talk, watch the stage. What am I paying you for? He is actually not sure what the answer to that question is.
I don't think Jindo is either.
So Barrage will make the rounds. He'll come to each of you. So as you come, Jindo, he kind of looks Jindo up and down, smiles to the other person he was talking to at the bar. He'll probably even take the glass out of your hand and put it down because he knows you've gotten out of hand a little before.
No way.
Yeah, no way. It's like he grabs it and it's like this stone grip that's just never. You would literally need a hammer and chisel to get that out of there.
First test of the game, right here.
We won't need to do that. That's fine. Yes. I do look for player consent in these opportunities. But yes, so he meets this stone grip and backs off and gives you the head tilt, watching you, don't mess it up, and moves on. He finds himself over by Castian as he's kind of going through. He's obviously he doesn't try to dress like he's rich, or even though he probably makes a great deal of money managing this troop and getting him, getting all you from place to place, etc. He doesn't dress like he dresses like relatively common man, someone you'd expect to be running like the tech behind the curtain type of thing. If you looked at him, that's what you would think. He's here with the band. He's a roadie type thing. A well-dressed roadie, but still the same. So yes, he kind of goes around and it's like invariably someone hands him an empty glass to, take away. Like, oh yeah, this kind of just takes it and smiles. This is part of the game, and he puts it down at the very next table he comes to, regardless of who's sitting there, goes to the next, and he finds his way over to Castian.
Castian will, address him without looking at him, as if he knows, that he was coming up. He's like, any problems? He's scanning the crowd.
He's like, that's what I pay you for. Talk to Jindo. Find out what he does for a living. I'm not actually sure. I know what I pay you for.
I'm like, Jindo's the one you trot out when you want to duel someone.
There is that. He comes in handy every now and then. Don't tell him I said that. That would be just a tragedy in the greatest sense. So, are there any problems, Castian?
None at the moment. I'm going to head backstage if you miss me for a few minutes.
He kind of looks around, takes things in.
On the performers.
Yeah, the song's still going and everybody is generally entranced, so he's like, should be good for the moment, but do your rounds. Understood?
Understood.
Very well then. With that, he kind of
That
lets you off.
I head backstage.
Excellent.
Maybe checking in with one of the guards that's probably working there.
Yeah, it's a house annex guard. They are, again, this is their domain here, but they've already worked with you on several occasions, kind of preparing for this night. So you're marked, like, their security person already has cleared you, all the good stuff. So yeah, you're let by with just a cursory glance over. Like, they do stop you, like someone puts up a hand and they kind of just look you over as if, like, is this really Castian? Is there anything strange going on? And
Yeah, I think they have. I've asked them to do both a visual and verbal confirmation. There's probably a code word used for the night.
Sure. I don't know what that word is. That's why I'm not let backstage.
It likely won't matter. So
yeah, we don't need to share it. Don't share it on the stream. Then everybody will get backstage, and it'll just be horrible. Yeah, so you're let back. No problem.
And I'll walk behind the set and make sure everything's up and up.
Copacetic. No people who aren't authorized wandering about blindly, etc.
Correct.
Excellent. So yeah, Reza, as you kind of, it's as you're kind of like, you're taking a break from the schmoozing because the idea is keep everybody's mind on the performance. As I'm assuming Reza generally doesn't break the rules that Jindo always does during these performances. So he kind of Barrage kind of falls into your orbit as you're kind of just mingling physically, and you're with him for a time before you switch to the next minglee, etc., etc. Is that a word, minglee? I don't know. But regardless, Barrage is like, anything interesting out here?
I kind of probably just like wink at, kind of, I don't know, shake my hips at him a little bit and say something along the lines of that I haven't really found anything super important yet from anybody, but I'm listening and looking and trying to see if there's anything in there. There really just hasn't been anything interesting quite yet that she's come across, but she does a little bit of like a flirt with him and asks if there's anything he needs from her.
He kind of, as he's kind of, I imagine you're both kind of moving, like you're moving to the next minglee and he's letting you. So you're kind of like two ships passing slowly side by side. And as you're about to kind of break away, he kind of whispers to you, always be making a dossier for everyone you talk to.
And I just kind of nod and wink at him and crack a little smile and just keep on going and continue to do just that.
Yeah, I have to assume that, like, Reza, again, she's the memorizer. So she's the one that'll say, oh yeah, I talked to these 3 people and I overheard part of their conversation. I talked to each. Yeah, this one's a captain in the guard. His favorite food is, cabbage. His favorite color is this. His mother's name is that, etc. You're the one who creates these dossiers quite easily as just, passing the time.
Right, just getting information from him, acting, again, flirtatious. Doesn't matter if it's man or woman, just being friendly. Very, very friendly.
Absolutely. Awesome. Cool. Anaya. Burge will kind of stop as if kind of he's admiring the show at the stage and just happens to be standing right next to you with Carter on the opposite side of you, and kind of leans over. How goes the evening?
And Anaya probably has like a nice like, little fan or something that she can use to like cover her mouth delicately while she's whispering back. And she'll say, "He's a little bit boring. Are you really sure he's that important?"
He's like, well, he has Alexis has caught his eye, so I want to know more about him. He's quite the fan. And kind of looks at your fan as if to make this visual pun that only you will get or understand or care about for the moment.
Yeah, and I just kind of like raises an eyebrow delicately and then says, "Fine, I'll keep entertaining him and see what I can get out of him."
Excellent. With that, he kind of drifts away, ends up getting handed a few more glasses, puts them down gently on tables as he goes, and just like that, the song ends. The balisette kind of like it has like a damper on it, just like a piano does, and the damper stays off as the last note kind of just continues thrumming for a while, even after Alexis stops singing. And this group is just entranced. There's immediately the however the hell that people in the universe clap. I'm going to assume it's not the same, but because it has to be different, right? Oh, there you go. Oh, I was thinking like this. Is this like a Katniss type thing? Is this like I don't know what that is. Yeah, there's this. There. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, they appreciate the performance quite generously, and things kind of pass on. The show that was kind of like the climax of the show. There's just one other act to kind of bring everything down, and it's just some soloists, kind of like newcomers to your troupe. You're not too familiar with them, as far as you know. They're just actually performers. The four of you are the only kind of well, I can't say that. I can't say only the four of you. There are others. In fact, as you know, Alexis is deep in it. But generally, there are actual just performers that don't realize there's freaking espionage going on at all turns. They exist. They're blind to this. They don't get it. They are taught, however, to kind of turn a blind eye when they see something strange coming from any of you. They just, fix eyes forward, walk past, even if it's them strangling someone with a garrote or something, brings you back to the Bedlam Hall, ignore the whatever. But yes. So yeah, you all can meet backstage at this point. Castian, you found nothing totally out of order, though. As you all kind of group in back to kind of, I'm assuming you kind of get together to exchange notes, to, point out targets, et cetera, et cetera. There's some kind of page sitting at the backstage door, and he's in House Annex colors. What are House Annex colors? I believe maroon and blue, and is waiting patiently with an actual sealed envelope. And you pretty much all have to pass him by as you go backstage.
I say Castian will stop. Like, you have a message for someone?
And he kind of looks to you, and you can tell he's used to like telling people off. How dare you talk to me like that? You get that vibe, but instead he kind of notes your
noble page.
He's one of those. Yeah, he kind of notes the shimmer around you, the obvious weapon over your shoulder. Again, I do want to point out this is an exotic weapon that Castian carries. It's way heavier than normal weapons, but there's a fighting style that goes along with it that we'll kind of see as we eventually get into that. I have to imagine Castian will blood that blade sometime during this campaign. I know we'll all be disappointed otherwise, so there's that. So yeah, he kind of looks at you, notices your armaments, and he's like, "I was told to give this to the Lady Alexis by my hand to hers."
Like, hold it out for me.
He kind of kinks his head, but then it triggers like, oh, he thinks this may be some kind of trap or something. So he does extend the envelope. It's sealed with a wax seal, all that good stuff.
And I will use the poison snooper on it just to verify that the exterior isn't tainted.
Excellent. Do you actually have an asset, a poison super asset?
I do.
Cool. I will let you go without a roll on that one. We're not going to worry about that from him. But yes, it comes back clean. How does your poison sniper tell you it's good or bad?
I think it vibrates. If there's a problem, only because I'm usually doing this, backstage or during performances. So I have the little bit better model that doesn't have a audible screech or anything that might disturb those around me.
Excellent. Yeah, so it doesn't do anything. So he kind of brings it back to his person, if you will, and kind of looks around, sees each of you, you guys as the other backstage hands are kind of milling about, et cetera, and where might I find Ms. Demos?
I'm like, come with me. And I'll take him to her until he hands off the message.
Okay. Just as a note, I had this in my head that he's going to do one of those. Okay, we're going through the hall, left, right, back, and here's the exit to the backstage door. Have a great day. I thought he was going to pull one of those.
Nope, and I'm not going to give him instructions and just let him go either.
There's that.
It might not be poison, but I don't know what he's carrying. So.
Ooh.
And she is one of our fine performers.
Yes. So you get to the diva's dressing room, and she is the diva, or a diva, and the knock at the door opens, and she's kind of still in her performance gown, etc. And she sees the page. The page extends the letter, and she kind of looks to you, Castian.
And I just give her a nod, like I've checked it. But I say, once you break the seal, pause a moment.
I feel like, what?
Well, the letter itself would be the most likely thing to poison in addition to the envelope.
How cruel do I have to be as a GM for session 1 of season 1?
You forget who our sworn enemy is that we haven't decided how sworn, but they're definitely the enemy.
Fair enough.
Poison our house. I think I check everything that comes in.
That is fair.
There isn't a poison snooper overhead. It's something that I have to check.
Fair enough. So yeah, she opens it, and she kind of reads it after the seal breaks. So it's fine. She opens it, reads it, and you see this look of just contempt on her face that you've seen very many times, actually, Castian. And she's like, she tells the page, "Tell Carter that I have no need to meet with him tonight or any other night. Farewell." And with that, she shoves the letter back into his hands and actually visibly pushes him out of the way and closes the door.
And, before she closes the door, I'll say, if this Carter gives you any trouble, let me know. I'll take care of it.
So, yes. Awesome. So back on behind the stage, what are again, my assumption, and this is mostly for my benefit as a game master, I'm going to assume, and you can tell me differently, that generally you will congregate together in times like this, exchange notes. Hey, I found this one tip, but I don't think I can follow up on it so well. Maybe you can go there, blah blah blah, that kind of strategizing. So my assumption, and you can always tell me that's not the case, is that you'll be together. I try not to split the party because that makes it harder for me to give you all spotlight if we have to keep switching scenes and then that kind of thing. So, what are you talking about? Let's do some role play. We got casting to do some stuff. What are you guys chit chatting about?
Is the party still currently going on, or has it ended, or where are we in the timeline at the moment?
We've passed dinner. We've passed now the entertainment, and now is the kind of general schmoozing. There may be the rough equivalent of some kind of after party somewhere. But the official party is winding down, but we're still in like mingle time, social time.
In that case, I think Anaya's probably standing kind of close to the curtain, like onto the stage, and just kind of peering gently around the corner to keep an eye on things in the at the party. And I didn't do this earlier, but I'm going to do it now because I can. So one of my talents is whenever I enter is passive scrutiny. Whenever I enter a scene, I can ask one question of the GM as if I'd spent momentum to obtain information. And I will abuse this power wholeheartedly throughout the course of this game. But I'm going to start here.
And as I remember, if I remember correctly, it's also it's since it's been a Jesuit thing, it's not necessarily something that has to be obvious to like normal people.
Well, passive scrutiny is not specifically a Bene Gesserit talent, I don't think.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Prana Bindu and voice are, but passive scrutiny is not. It's just part of the
there must be another one.
Being an empath. Yeah. I think there is another one, but yeah, so it's just I get to ask one question as if I was using the obtain information mechanic. So I think what I would like to ask is where is the tension in this room?
Like backstage presently, or in the party?
No, like in the party. Like looking at the audience / the party. Like where is the tension? Like specifically because one of her focuses is body language. Like reading people's body language to see who are the people who look nervous or like they have something to hide in this room.
I'll say that. So the tension from the body language you're talking about was right next to you at the party, in the form of Carter. It doesn't take Bene Gesserit, it takes someone with decent observation powers to see that there's this thing he has with Alexis that quite obviously she doesn't have for him, and you can feel you're probably at one point your hand was on his arms, maybe strangely over a blood point, but what's it called? What am I looking for? Like where you can feel a heartbeat. Probably his pulse, a pulse point, and his pulse probably raced like a bull when she came on, and now that she kind of there's some serious tension.
Okay. Then I think that would be my lead-in with the group. I would turn, take a glance outside and then turn back to Reza and Jindo and say, well, my charge for the night certainly seems to be hiding something, or maybe not hiding, as the case may be. And she nods her head toward the page that just went in with Castian.
I see you kind of come up and say that and kind of nod your way. And is he as boring as he looks, your man for the night?
Tremendously. Social climber. He thinks he's way more entertaining than he actually is. My muscles hurt from fake laughing all night.
Ouch.
Didn't think Bene Gesserit muscles got sore tired. Like it's not a jab, but it's kind of a jab.
She gives you like an eyebrow and she says, I'm still human, Jindo.
I did not mean to.
A 4-hour party.
I mean to indicate otherwise.
Did you learn anything more interesting, Reza?
I figure I try to, I'd like maybe talk about like Nom's Hedaguard and how I've been trying to actively kind of flirt with him some tonight, and noticing him being that Carter being a bit enamored with Alexis, and I'm wanting to use maybe something like my subtle words to his head of guard to kind of help him maybe hopefully talk some sense into Carter to help keep an eye on him, because I don't know what's going to happen there, if Carter's going to try to make a play for her or what he's planning on trying to do. If that's something I can do.
I'm sorry, I was multitasking badly right there. What was the question?
I've been trying to ingratiate myself with Carter Nom's head of guard tonight, like, spend a little more time with him, because we've probably all noticed Carter's being enamored with Alexis, and seeing if his head of guard could help us kind of calm Carter down to make sure he doesn't try to hurt our main event in any way. So I was wanting to use like subtle words on him to see if I can get something through to his. I guess if he even has a head of guard.
He would certainly have an entourage. But he is of House Annex. He's not in like the direct noble line or anything, but he's definitely a noble of the house. So we would have like a small entourage, maybe a level guard here and there, that kind of thing. What is that? What's the talent that you're talking about again? Refresh my memory.
Subtle words. It says you are skilled at swaying others with a few quiet words spoken in the right place at the right time, even though they may not realize what influence your words have had. When you attempt a communicate test, you buy one or more dice by spending momentum. You may create a new trait for free upon the character you've spoken to, which reflects your influence upon their thoughts or mood.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, I didn't really give you a chance to do this during the scene, so let's go ahead and do that. So yeah, go ahead and make your roll.
Okay, so what do I need to click exactly? That's the part I'm not sure about at the moment.
That's fine. So you're trying to charm. I think it's fair that you're using communicate, right? You're definitely trying to charm them. I'm going to say your focus would do its thing. Let's see here. Communicate. So now if you go to the character sheet on the little drop down to the right, we need to choose what your drive is. And again, this is kind of a cool educational point for all of us. The second part of the show is, what is the drive that you're using? Generally, you're going to go towards the ones like your truth. I decide what is true, and power. I do as I please. In order to, basically find a way to use them to get the best score, and that's okay. They can come back to bite you if you constantly use that. But basically, yeah, whatever we choose, whatever we're going to decide the drive is, you'll click that in the drop down there. Your focus is yes, and then you just hit the little die number there, little die thing, and in theory, it'll roll it out. So I just do want to note for everyone that the coding here is not it's really good, but it doesn't see like what criticals have happened. So like if you'll have to mouse over the successes, it'll actually tell you what you rolled. So you rolled a 20.
Oh, okay.
So your score was 14. So the two combined, so truth and communicate. And and one of the things we have to talk about is I decide what is true. Does that work here?
Yeah, because I feel like I'm trying to make him like we can see for sure that Carter is rather enamored with her, and I'm trying to help him believe or realize that Alexis isn't interested, and so which is the truth. Like she's not interested in him, and we don't know what Carter's going to want to do, if he's going to have his entourage try to steal her or something along those lines. Just trying to help get some information along that will help protect Alexis.
Sure. All right, cool. So yeah, so basically, again, the code kind of it does the score right. It shows what the critical is. So basically, your communicate is 7. Your truth is also 7. So you have a 14. So for each 2d20 roll, if you get 14 or under, that's considered a success. Because we are saying one of your focuses charm applies, there's a potential for a critical, a higher critical. So normally without a focus, a roll of 1 on 1d20 is a critical, so you get 2 successes for that automatically. If you are using a focus and you get your critical number or under, in this case 7 or under, that counts also as a critical, so that counts as 2. And we also got a 20, which is a complication. So that's a trait I get to use. And we'll kind of get to that in a second. So basically my point is the code is great, except for the fact that it doesn't pick up on when you get like a critical. So even though it says 1 success, hover over the success on the sheet or on the roll 20, and that'll actually tell you what you did roll, and we can figure out like how many successes there actually were if critical came into play, etc. So just putting it out there, so that you knowledge about it. And I'm kind of going to go over and see if I can figure out if we can improve that code. That's really not my thing, but I'm going to try. I can't believe that there's not a way to do it. So anyway, that's for a future session, but here we go for now. So, all right. So you do get a success and a critical. So I'm going to say that was enough. I should probably tell what the difficulty is. So basically with your subtle words, let's see here.
Pretty much what I feel like I've done is like I've kind of semi-hired on another protector for Alexis. Somebody who probably has Carter's ear and can get him to maybe leave her alone.
Okay, so what's the trait you want to put on him?
Like I said, kind of like an extra protector maybe is kind of what I'm looking at.
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't go as far as to say like he'd take a knife for her or anything, but you could certainly put something in like a trait that is, for example, Alexis isn't interested.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah. I couldn't think of the quite the right words I was wanting. So.
No, you're fine. Let's see. So I'm going to actually make another level here. NPCs. Alexis.
I have 2 questions when you resolve that.
Go right ahead.
If we wish to add dice by spending momentum, I know we don't have momentum at the moment. How are we going to do that? Like, I see a group momentum box on the character sheet, but I admit I have no idea how to use it.
When you click the tiny die, you can add more to it.
Okay, so it does ask for
pops up a box. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, good question. So now for the complication. So I'm going to say, I'm actually going to go, basically I can keep, I believe it comes up to, pardon me, is it 1 or 2 threat? I'm going to have to look at that. It's escaping me at the moment. If I basically want to keep it out, we're going to call it 2 for now, but I'm going to spend them right away. And I'm going to escalate things a little bit. As you're kind of doing your thing, I'm going to say that there is a one of the kind of like the stagehands comes back as you're kind of going over your notes together. And by the way, Castian, at this point, you're back with the group.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's this like stagehand that comes back, and he basically whispers, "House of Trek. House of Trek is here."
House what? I didn't hear you.
House Latrak. That's your enemy house.
Where?
Yeah, I'm assuming you like grab the person by their scruff or something as they're kind of going on by.
Yeah, if he wasn't stopping, yes.
Yes, no one I recognize, but they're wearing the coat of arms, the sheafs of wheat.
Okay. I will. I think I'll step by the edge of the curtain and see if I can get eyes on someone.
Okay. So this, and again, there are people from a bunch of different houses here, so this is not like totally outside the norm. But generally people, it's kind of like, how, okay, we can't seat these two next to each other at the table, so put their place cards over here and that one over there type of situation. So yeah, this would be one of those. I'm gonna say, let's see here. You will find I'm not big on making rolls if there's really no need. I'm not going to go overboard on that. I'm going to say you're a trained enough observer where you've literally been scanning this crowd the whole freaking time you've been here in the light and in the dark. And right now things have lit up actually. The dispenser lamps that are hanging, at regular intervals around the circumference. Now there's several more that are hovering kind of above you throughout like the center of the room and kind of like a matrix almost. Really lighting things up. So now this is more of a, again, things are dying down. People are wanting to see each other's faces and talk and maybe go on to other parties afterwards. But you scan the crowd and you see someone who's just a kind of a standard looking fellow. Nobody you recognize. It's just a man. He's wearing kind of like, very well-to-do clothes, a cloak, not a cloak, more of like a cape with like a chain clasp that goes across, and on like his right breast is the sheaf that you immediately recognize as House Lautrec. Not Toulouse-Lautrec, but Lautrec. And he's just kind of mingling like anyone else. No difference. There is no entourage. He seems to be alone. At least no one new in the crowd that you haven't identified before, and certainly no one with the crest on their chest.
Did we establish why they are our enemy?
We did not yet. But that's immaterial for this session. We will certainly figure it out. We have established a level of rivalry in that, like, if they had the opportunity, they'll take you down, but like not going out of their way or sacrificing the house to do so, etc., etc.
Okay. So I will, step back and say, third table off the bar, one man. Cloak. Either of you ladies check on him?
I'll go take a look, if you'd like. We just want to figure out why he's here.
And figure out if was eating with others. That might be important.
All right. I'll go engage in a little flattery.
Okay. So Anaya's, jumping into action. What are Reza and Jindo doing about this? Certainly there are things you can do to add on to the wonderness, which is Anaya's conversation.
I think I want to see somebody like that I've been, had talked to previously or something, and sort of with the guise of, oh, hey, did you see that Shield Ball match the other day? Something like that. But I'm gonna be in kind of her orbit or in her area. Trying not to draw attention. It just kind of looks like we're kind of splitting off and kind of doing our own things. But I'd like to be, nearby.
Okay. Reza, are you kind of participating in that, or is there anything else you'd want to be doing at this point?
I'm probably doing something similar. Like I'm flirting with somebody in the crowd, but I'm keeping one eye on the track, just to be, gather information, see if they talk to anybody, what they're drinking, what they're wearing, see if I can figure out if they have any other weapons on them, things like that.
Sure.
Someone should probably keep an eye on Carter too, throughout this. Just to make sure. Just to
we
make
have a
sure he
volunteer.
doesn't do anything.
Excellent.
Well, that's why I was hoping that the thing I put on the one bodyguard kind of helps with that a bit as well. Like maybe I enamored him enough that he's helping us a bit.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, traits are powerful things, by the way. They can, they can, again, just like the traits you have, traits that you put on NPCs or NPCs put on you, complications, traits in the environment, they make it, again, make a thing possible, impossible, easier, or harder. And there can be multiples of traits, times 2, times 3 that must be overcome to be able to do something, etc., etc. So keep that in mind. And again, traits are powerful. Definitely use them. We just have to get you some momentum. In fact, in order to do that, I'm going to, since Anaya is kind of like the central person here, starting this up, and you guys are feeding off her, it makes sense for her to kind of start things up. So, Anaya, as you kind of approach Carter, and again, Jindo and Reza, I imagine you're kind of like, okay, wait 2 seconds before you come out, type of thing. Don't look like you're all, ganging up on him or, all coming from the same place to the same place. You guys are professionals, and that's actually another thing I want to point out. These while we're seeing kind of, I want to say, minor functionaries, these are agents of the house. They aren't the lieutenants yet. They aren't the highest rank that have the ear of the leader of the house. However, these are very, very competent people. The 2D20 system makes sure that even starting characters are not level 1 D&D characters. That's not the vibe we're going for. Not to diss D&D. If you love it, love it. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, so Anaya, as you're kind of approaching him, he catches your eye, and again, you may not be the one he has his eye on, but sure enough, Anaya is.
I thought we were approaching the track guy.
What's that?
I thought we were approaching the track.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm off base. Yes, Latreka. Yeah. So let's kick off with let's have you make a roll. Let's take a look at Anaya. Sorry, thank you, by the way. I'm just kind of all over the place mentally. I apologize.
No worries.
So this is definitely a communicate type thing. I'm assuming you're kind of trying to get into his orbit, if you will, et cetera,
yes.
et cetera. What drive are you looking at?
Let's see. I think it's because we're trying to figure out what he's doing here. I think it's probably my truth drive.
Sure. Best when I control it. Yeah, and that's exactly what you're trying to do. So cool.
Yeah.
I don't think you're using a focus because.
Well, I do have innuendo as a focus, so depending on where this conversation goes, innuendo is all about subtext.
Sure. I'll say for purposes of this, innuendo doesn't trip because you're basically, this is the icebreaker as opposed to that continuing conversation, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, go ahead. Do you want to spend any threat to get more dice?
Well, tell me the difficulty. What's my difficulty here? Do I need one success?
This is a difficulty 0 test. This is kind of this is the mechanic that 2D20 kind of rolls into so game masters like myself can be generous with their players and at least get a momentum pool started as a scene starts out.
Okay, then I don't think I'm going to spend threat for extra stuff here if the difficulty is 0.
Yep.
So let's see what I get.
Excellent.
2 successes.
A 5 and a 5. So yeah, 2 successes. Awesome. So we've now generated momentum. Congratulations. Oh my God, it's your first momentum. I feel like you guys need a t-shirt or something like that. I got my first momentum.
All I got was this lousy
All I got was this lousy t-shirt plus 2 momentum. All right. So now you have momentum to play with. What are you going to do with it?
I have no idea.
What is your opening line to this individual?
Is he said he's like seated at a table?
I think Castian said it was like at the bar. Or
At the
was
bar?
table
Oh,
one?
okay.
Few tables off the bar.
I was gonna say the
few
bar
tables.
makes it really easy because if it's at the bar, Anaya will just saunter up next to him and then like give him the sort of like appraising, like up and down kind of look, and then just be like, "You should buy me a drink."
Yeah, for purposes of getting this going, I will say he's definitely at the bar. And he kind of smiles. He's kind of like he's a average looking type of guy. Looks like he keeps fit. Short cropped brown hair. There's nothing special about his looks per se. He's very average. Maybe that's the way he likes it. His teeth are just slightly crooked as he smiles at your offer of him getting you a drink. But he immediately gestures to the tender behind the bar, and before you know it, there's a glass in front of each of you.
Perfect.
In general, we'll say for just so I can get Reza and Jindo involved. Conversation starts up as you would think it would start from that point. Reza, Jindo, are you specifically looking to do anything in particular, or just kind of watch the show for now? And this is a performance like the likes of which this guy probably has never seen before. Brought to you by House Gildrun and Bene Gesserit.
I'll probably just watch for right now.
Okay. Oh, like I imagine you're maybe like you're doing that mentat thing where like you're having a conversation with somebody, but you're totally close enough to listen in, and there's like a part of your brain like doing well what I do badly, which is multitasking, where you're having this one conversation, but you're totally hearing the other one and kind of taking things in.
Right, memorizing it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jindo is doing kind of the same, but without that whole mentat thing going on, or maybe just drinking at the bar.
I think he's like drinking and schmoozing with someone, and like he's got his like his blades on him, but it's a very like military dress kind of thing, so it's not, they're there for show. And like someone's like, oh yeah, and he's like showing someone his blade or something like that, but
What kind of blades do you have,
like,
by the way? What are the blades you're carrying around with you? What do they look like?
So I had this they would be sort of a matched set of dueling blades, like a long blade and then like a shorter one, and they would have kind of a play on the Sock and Buskin, the comedy and tragedy sigils of our house. So the blade is for comedy and the dagger is for tragedy.
I totally knew what that sock and buskin meant before you defined it for me, so that hurts.
It's an old term for what that's what it sometimes is called.
All.
That so
I was hoping against hope that you would actually tell me what the hell that meant. Thank you so much. Awesome. So yes, so like a kinjal and a normal length blade probably is what I'm envisioning in my head.
Yeah, like the standard of the Ginaz kind of setup.
Gotcha. Jindo, you will take note that there is like you as you're kind of standing nearby the track character, there is that smell of like that faint smell of ozone that tells you his shield is active, at least a low level. You probably if it's at a lower level, it's hard to see to notice, but if you touch somebody or if you there's that ozone that starts getting generated by the shield just existing at all that Jindo would probably pick up on more than anybody else, maybe Anaya also, just as a note. And Kestian, what are you doing again?
I'm still on the stage. I was trying to keep an eye on basically the other players, Carter, and kind of monitor for anyone going backstage to see Alexis.
Oh sure. And there are definitely House Annex security people that are also monitoring that, but they've been instructed, and you're aware that you have precedence over them for backstage security, as a note. I
am constantly watching.
Excellent. A little creepy, but excellent. Awesome. So, Anaya, how's that conversation going? He's basically there on a trade mission of some small thing. It's actually he's basically trying to trade, some wheat for access to some of their artisans, that kind of thing. His name is Minsk.
Minsk. Okay. Yeah, Anaya's probably flirting a little bit to kind of just sell the act. But yeah, like very much trying to steer the conversation in terms of, oh, what are you doing here? And like whenever he says he's here to like trade in their wheat, she'll like do like a nice little throaty laugh and then say something to the effect of, "You're not here to kill someone," and she'll like gesture at his Latrac pin that you said he had on his chest, because I mean they are known for poison, like that is their primary domain.
But it's just wheat. It's a picture of a couple sheaves of wheat together. How much can you hurt somebody with wheat, right?
Well, it's what you make from the wheat.
Yeah, Minsk he kind of takes amusement at that. Oh, well, certainly. I mean, if you know anything about our house, you know the fact that we were farmers. We just started off making a wheat product, and before we knew it, the very wheat, the chaff from it, produced a valuable good. Doesn't necessarily mean that we, as individuals, partake in it. We certainly sell it, but I've never touched the stuff myself, much less used it. I assure you, you're safe with me. In fact, I make sure no matter what room I'm in, and he looks up, he's like literally right under the bar poison snooper. He's like,
smart.
I always make sure I'm under a poison snooper at all times when having discussions near water or liquid, since of course the poison is a charmusky.
I'll raise my drink and say, "Well then, I suppose a cheers is in order." And she'll take like a nice little swig of her drink. She's not really super concerned about there being poison. But this guy doesn't seem like he doesn't seem like there's a real threat here.
That's what someone who was a threat would want you to think.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, he's like, I got the strangest invitation.
Oh.
Yes,
you weren't on the original invitation list for the party.
No. In fact, of course, since House Gildrun was in attendance, they assumed I would not want to be. They scheduled me a week off, but it just so happens that my highliner that I needed to take to get other business was changing its schedule, and here I am. And I found myself with an invite, so I figured I would find out. I missed the show. I know those performers put on quite the show, but I'm okay with missing it.
Oh, well, sometimes the more interesting things happen after the show.
And as I was going to say, I'm here for the drink and the company. Well put, madam.
Thank you. But you said the invitation was strange. I mean, what was odd about it? Did it not come from House Rack? Annex? I'm going to get my names right eventually.
It's like, it was strange. It didn't come from them directly. It was meant for someone else and then readdressed to myself. Which, I happen to know that House Annex is quite up on their invitation etiquette. So I found it strange, but figured I would attend anyway. I was drawn here by fate.
It's very strange. I've always found House Annex to be perfect hosts.
Were
you able to see who the invitation originally was for? I mean, that's the height of rudeness.
I wish I could say. I gave my invitation to one of the attendants as I entered. But since I'm here, I'm happy to meet your acquaintance, Miss...
Oh, Anaya. A pleasure.
Lady Anaya?
Yes.
Well,
She will take that.
And Ken looks around. I'm actually gonna have let's see. So let's do. I'm gonna, just because I want to get some mechanics in here just to have some fun. Jindo, I'm gonna have you roll like basically like a move, a stealth type of thing. Like, are you blending in, or is he picking you out of the crowd? Like, as like someone who's watching. So let's do this. You're basically, so you're like the defender, if you will. So you're setting the stakes, as it were. So let's figure out what you're rolling. And again, my hope is that this will eventually be more streamlined, where, you know, when we're all comfortable, like you're telling me, oh, so I'm going to use this and this, and I think my focus works. Does it? Yes, no. You know, hit check yes, check no. But move is kind of the stealth. I'd be willing to look at another skill if you wanted. Like I don't know, communicate maybe is blending in to its to a degree. Which would you want to use for your skill? I'll let you tell me.
I think move works. Yeah, I don't think any of my other skills or focuses would really be that applicable here. You know, yeah, it's not that he's trying to be stealthy, but like you said, he's blending in. So
Sure. Okay. And what's your drive?
let's use duty. It's in service to the house. I am helping Anaya. People are the true strength of the house.
Cool. Awesome. That sounds like it fits with your statement. So let's go ahead and roll it. Do you want to use any momentum since you have some? You buy at least one. You could buy one extra die.
Well, I have a question.
Sure.
So the traits that we have, they can make things easier, harder, possible, right?
Or
Do I have that right?
impossible? Yes. Yes.
Right. If I'm, you know, like if one of my traits is like again as swordsman, and that's, you know, I am in plain view as, you know, kind of that, would that trait kind of help sell that I am just, you know, an oblivious swordsman talking about shield ball or whatever?
Oh, gotcha. I would say no, in that that's more like, you know, when you're actually in battle, when you're
Okay.
kind of, you know, surveying it, you're kind of picking out someone's strategy, their fighting style. I would definitely apply it there. It just doesn't like, and I see where you're going with this, and I
Right.
think
No, it's totally fine. I just wanted to
yeah,
ask because I, you know, thought of it.
no,
So,
absolutely,
okay.
absolutely.
So we're going to roll move and duty, and here we go.
Cool. All right, a 5 and a 16. So yeah, you got one success. I'm going to have this guy roll. His level will be at his difficulty, or his score will be. I will say it is a 10. And let's do a roll. Ooh, look. All right, he has one success. Success, I believe, goes to the defender. Really, this is something I should be sure of, but I'm not. So for the purposes of moving on, I'm going to say yes. You don't stick out in the crowd. As it turns out, you're kind of just blending in, and your conversation is, you know, doing its trick, and you go unnoticed by him. So good job.
And Jason, did you have GM roll toggle turned on?
It's Jonathan, but yeah, I did. I just realized.
Oh,
Sorry.
Wrong game
Game.
session.
It's totally fine. I've been watching your guys' Bedlam Hall, so I knew who you meant.
Fair enough. Cool. All right. Yeah. So the conversation goes on. Yeah, he's definitely there. He was surprised to have gotten an invitation, but he took it. Is the gist of it? He is there to do some trading, et cetera, et cetera. This is definitely Reza is right now assembling information that will make what do you call it? Will make Barrage very happy. Yet another Latrac dossier that he can put in a file somewhere. So yeah, awesome. Let's see. Castian, I'm going to say backstage you're noticing a bunch of people come back with flowers. They're your stagehands. You kind
Okay.
of, I'll say you're at a place where you kind of inspect people going down the hallway and you get a good look at them as they go. What do you call it? But yeah, there's like flowers going back and forth, for there. She's rejecting some, so some of the backstage people are coming out with the flowers, and they're just giving them to someone else. There's like, it's ours now.
I'll say
But
it's pretty traditional. Is that ever something that's considered, as carrying the potential for danger? Whether it's poison, thorn, or something to that effect.
Oh, sure, like the flower language of flowers, but Dune-ish.
Correct. Language of Canley,
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Is there? I assume there wasn't a poison snooper backstage.
There wouldn't be there. No. As I said, I've kind of set it. I've set the scene up where you certainly, as they go back, you can inspect them with your poison super. I'm going to say you found no such thing.
And is there any sign of, we'll say, an excess of affection? Like someone coming with, like 5 dozen roses or something. Like,
oh my,
someone shows signs of obsession.
Yeah. So speaking of which, good catch. You do see Carter and his man coming towards you. We're at our halfway point. So if you guys are cool with it, we'll take our 10-minute break and be right back. Work for you guys. And when we get back, we'll I'm not sure what we'll be doing. I don't want to, like all my other games, I try not to deal in minutia if I can avoid it. So we'll probably continue the scene after you've talked to this guy, or maybe Anaya has arranged some other meeting with him, or for the research and get more information on him, etc. But when we come back, we'll figure all that out. We'll find out what Carter's about to do here, etc., etc. So I will see you all in 10.
Sounds good.
All right, and we are back from the break. So, yes. Let's talk to Castian real quick. So, Carter is approaching you. His valet, the one that Anaya talked to, is like carrying an armful of flowers, trying to you can hear him talking him back. Like, hey, that's basically the effect of this is the lady isn't interested. There's so many others that already have seen you and et cetera, trying to point him towards someone else. And he's basically looking to steamroll you, Castian.
Yeah. So as
if that can be done.
Yeah, as he's coming this way, I sort of, shrug off the sword belt and kind of plant the sword and scabbard in front of me, on the ground, which still probably comes up to about here on him. On Carter, not on Castian. He's too tall. But the lady made it perfectly clear you are not welcome to visit her. Now, take your flowers, drop them on the table right there, and leave.
My good sir, I'm sure that with this large piece of outdated steel that you tend to intimidate many men, I'm not one of them. Nothing will stand between me and my undying devotion for the Lady Alexis, and I would ask you then to move from my path, sir.
If this was made of a poorer quality steel, it would weigh more than you. I believe I made myself clear.
Oh, I'm kind of curious. Okay, now I got this is an interesting one. I hate to stop the rhythm with some rolls, but this is going to be an interesting one. So, Let's see. So he's the defender. So he's going to set the stakes. Let's see here. So let's bring up Castian. All right. All right. So let's actually, since I actually made a character sheet for him, why don't I actually use it, right? Let's see here. Come on. Okay, here we are. All right, spring up Carter. All right, so this will be discipline against discipline. And I'm going to say, yeah, so his faith definitely works. His faith statement is, I'm destined to be important. So that's so his score is 12. I'm going to say that he's none of his focuses work. So let's make the roll. All right, he has 2 successes. So that's your point to hit. I'm assuming. So you'll be doing. I'm assuming discipline. And what's your drive?
I think you're muted, Steve.
Sorry, it was background noise here. I could do either duty or justice, but I think I'm going to stay with duty on this one because I have no problem thrashing him if he pisses me off. To heck with the consequences.
All right, awesome. All right, so yeah, about that discipline.
And I think composure may work in this because this is a stressful situation. I think if someone from another house is trying to force his way through.
Gotcha. I'll say
That's
I'm on the board. I'm on the borderline, but let's go with it. Let's add the focus. I'll say that basically your composure is what's going to either hit your unflappedness by him is what may add to this. So yeah, let's do the focus. Normally, I would say that it probably doesn't. More like an intimidate or something would be more appropriate. But let's go with it. Let's do the thing. And do you want to spend any momentum? You have 2. You could get 1 extra die.
Sure, let's spend 1.
Oh, we're spending momentum. That's very special.
Dice. So I just add 1 die to whatever I'm.
Yep. Now you're rolling with a 3d6.
Okay. 3d20. Yes.
Or 3d6. Yep. You know what I meant. Ooh, nice. Holy crap. Yeah, I think you beat him.
3 criticals?
Yeah. There is
6 total successes?
Yeah.
So
holy.
Green indicates that it's below the critical level. Red indicates if it's a 20, I think.
Yeah.
It doesn't calculate the doubles.
Right, it doesn't just so if you mouse over, it shows you it recognizes what's a crit, it just doesn't populate it properly. So
it's actually 6 successes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have 6 successes. So he had the 2, so you have 4 momentum you just created. So you now have 5 momentum.
Nice job.
So I can use 1 immediately for how do I spend momentum? There's an average for that.
Well, you can spend 2 momentum to basically add a trait to him. He already has Alexis isn't interested. I totally forgot to include that, so that was on me, which made it harder. But you could add another. You can add another trait to him. You can. Technically, this is really you weren't doing an information type of thing, so it's really not a get more information. So I think that adding a trait to him like intimidated.
Yeah,
would be something to
add. Cowed.
Cowed? Okay. Okay. So that'll cost you 2 of those momentum you got. Is that fine?
Yep, that's fine. I'll stockpile the rest.
Ooh, does everybody like my cool thing? Oop, oh my god. What do I do? Okay, there it is. This multi-sided table thing I made here. That's pretty cool. So
Yeah, I do
yes.
It is a great visual indicator for us.
Yes. All right. Cool. So so you're up to 3 momentum, and he is now cowed. I'm going to put that in the traits on him.
Like
Yes.
now, turn around, and I'm sure you'll find someone else worthy of your attention.
Yeah, his big, full of himself, better than you smirk drops. And you can almost imagine him like in his mind's eye getting like decapitated by you or something like that. And almost as if like just like a instinctive reaction, his hand goes to his shield belt as like, a defensive, like it's almost as if he felt you're going to strike him that very moment. And he actually does turn it on like at a low level. So you kind of get that feeling from him. Like, I would have your name, sir. And this is like the best he can do before he turns tail. Like, I want the name of your manager type of
Castian de
thing going
Templar. Feel free to ask around.
So yeah, he backs off. You haven't heard the last of me, Castian de Templar. I will have my audience with my woman.
Leave the flowers.
Leave the flowers. Yeah, the you've also cowed the aide, the porter, and he like literally he just gently puts them down, steps away as if they were like a weapon he's supposed to stand back from, and he's out the door faster than Carter is. So meanwhile, Reza and Aya and Jindo are basically sitting in a room with across from Barrage, kind of taking things in. Again, he's his main job really is to just be a troop manager, but in order to do that effectively, he also has to. He's in on the thing that you're all freaking espionage workers, etc. And he's like I won't say he. Well, I suppose it's fair to say he is your handler. He is in both the troop and the like intelligence gathering aspects. So that's interesting. I just learned that about my own NPC. That's pretty cool. So yeah, he's like Reza. You're basically sitting in like this quiet room. It was probably like a dressing room that went unused, and it's nice and quiet away from the din of like the backstage area, but it's still backstage, And he's Reza. What do you have to report on that?
On the what's the house again?
How's the track? What do you have to report on the
Can you type that out
Trackman?
for me?
It is in World Anvil. I will put a link in. One moment, please. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I'll put that in chat and also in Roll20.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Having something physical to read helps.
Oh, absolutely, and I hope that does help you. I mean, feel free to have World Anvil up in another window or whatever. Basically anything that's visible to you is knowledge that you have. Anything I'd want to keep secret from you, there's a place there's literally a secrets place I can put that you will never see until I want you to see it. So whatever is there is your in-character knowledge, all of you, at any given time.
This is exactly what I needed. Pretty much I figure I'm sitting there and trying to explain that, does it seem like Latrak had a whole lot to say that I could see? I'm not sure really why he's here. I mean, I figure I overheard maybe some of the conversation between him and Aya about, he's here due to the ticket being placed under his name, even though it was originally under somebody else. So we're
This
not
is
really sure why he's here.
the
Isn't
ticket.
that right?
We had the full guest list. No House Lautrec individual, to my knowledge, was on it. What do you mean?
Right.
What do you mean it was placed under his door?
He said somebody sent him the invitation, like the name I guess had been crossed out, and now it has a new. It put him down on it instead.
He said he handed it in at the front door when he entered the party. I was going to go see if we could recover it. Perhaps see who it was originally intended for.
We look at the guest list and see who didn't show up.
Or that.
Does Reza have a mentat ability that would help with this?
She does have the what is it called? I get to the right sheet. She's got eidetic memory, and she also has the mind palace talent.
Oh, cool. So while we have that, let's just kind of take a quick look. Let's see here.
And I think also while I'm relaying all this, I like kind of reach up and I take my wig off, where I actually have like very short hair underneath, and I pull the chicken breasts out of my bra top and kind of flop them into my lap. That help me look kind of curvy, and you kind of realize that I have a little bit more of a boyish body than the outfit honestly shows for sure.
Gotcha. So now, you're saying, I know you said you had Mind Palace. What was the other one that might apply?
The other one was... One second, I just accidentally clicked out of Roll20. Sorry, trying to use World Anvil is a little...
It's okay. I'm going to reorganize it. It'll be a little easier next time.
I also have eidetic memory, and I also have deductive reasoning for skill focuses. So
yeah, where is am not? Am I just missing eidetic memory
it's not
in mine?
It's
What's
just
that?
what I came up with.
It's a focus, not a talent.
Right.
Gotcha.
The talent would be Mind Palace.
Right. Let's see here. Okay. So, did you at any point look at the guest list?
I would think I would have had to. You know,
yeah, that's definitely something.
That's
definitely something they would have wanted the mentat along with you to roll. So go ahead and we're going to have you do a test. Let's see here. Let's see. So do an understand and like you can use your recall focus if you have that, or eidetic memory or whatever. And let's see here. And it's gonna be a recall test of, I'll say 1. This is mentat pre-basic training here.
Okay, so I'm looking at probably understand for my eidetic memory, and truth is probably the drive I'm going under for this one. So
let's see. I decide what is true. Sure. Cool. All right. Let's see here. 15, 18. All right. No criticals, no successes. I'm gonna say you didn't take enough time to kind of put it into your mind palace, and it's not coming to you. But you do know that there were more houses than just like NX and Gildrun that were present. So we'll have to go back and take a look at that later. So, yes.
Okay.
So you and Barrage kind of nods to you. It's like, can't expect you to get everything, Mentat. And he's like, I do have some Safu in the back. I keep it on hand just in case.
Well, if you want my throat to close up, we could do that. But
I'd prefer to have you breathing. Very well.
Same. I'd rather much be breathing.
So it's like, Naya, what did you gain from him?
I mean, I think Rez has covered most of the basics at this point.
Just an uninteresting trader, it sounds like.
He said he was here to do a deal for some of their wheat. That he wasn't here for any other purpose, and that he hadn't originally been invited. And his highliner was running a little earlier than scheduled, it sounded like, which made it possible for him to attend the party.
Jindo, would you say this man was a fighting man? By the looks of him?
Didn't look like a fighter, but that doesn't mean much. I do have a question though. I have a focus in Canley on my understand. Would I maybe be able to put that to use to like, okay, sort of the established legal forms of warfare and assassination and whatnot. He wasn't invited, how he used the highliner, things like that. Would I know, are these, acceptable? Is this, has he done anything that would put him outside the bounds of Canley?
Oh, cool. Sure, good question. Let's make a roll with, again, this is basic stuff. Let's do a difficulty 1. So what are you going to choose for your drive?
For drive, I mean, I like duty for this as well. This is in service to the house because this is our enemy. This is our rival, and we need to keep tabs on them.
Sure, go for it. And use your Canley focus.
Okay, so we're focused, and we're using duty and understand.
All right, and you got actually 3 successes.
Yep.
All right, so before I put the momentum on the table, so all the things you've basically named. So, generally speaking, like, if he was actually here to carry out some kind of assassination type of thing, generally speaking, and, it would be against, like, there would have to be a target here, and there's really no great targets if this was like a Canley situation. Like there's no House Gildrun nobles here. There's no one highly placed in the house. You are functionaries as far as he's aware. That doesn't mean they can do assassinations outside of that. To push other agendas and stuff. But from a Canley's perspective, this would not make any sense for one of you to be a target. Again, there are situations outside of Canley that all houses, again, you don't have to be in Canley to go assassinate somebody who's even like a lower level individual. I just want to but in an official War of Assassins or an official type of Canley, generally the players are the highly placed players. But again, that doesn't disallow. That's kind of what. But it does disallow that they want to push a little something somewhere as part of some Mantat plan or something to kind of do the thing.
Right.
I mean, his it's not like he has to be. It's not like he has to be invited to a thing to to enter into the rules or anything like that. However he got there, be trick or true, that wouldn't matter at all. You do have, let's see here. So you got 3 successes. You have 2 momentum. Do you want to spend any of those to gain more information about that?
I don't think so. I could use them to obtain information, but would that?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, would that to tell me? Would I be able to kind of use that to learn? Who's missing? Basically, like, oh, I didn't see Senator so and so.
No, this would be the information you're gathering would be in relation to the roll you just made.
I don't think so, unless somebody else can think of a good question to ask related to that Canley kind of situation. But I think that answers my question already.
Sure, that's fine. But yeah. So likely, again, I do want to stress that again, houses kill people every day. I assure you that Gildrun killed somebody today. And it's not, again, it doesn't have to be within Canley, but if you're specifically rolling for Canley type of knowledge. So this is outside of it. I would say it's safe for Jindo to say that this has nothing to do with it.
I relay as much to Barrett and basically say, just because he doesn't look like a fighting man doesn't mean much. He seems to be obeying most of the laws of Canley, as far as I can tell. I feel like we're kind of coming up short here, but we just need more information to go on.
Excellent. That's about after you report. That's when Castian pops back into the room. Things are kind of closing down. The party's over. The house annex guards are kind of taking things over backstage and elsewhere. So Castian is off the clock, as it were.
Yeah, no. Any word on our visitor?
Just a trader in wheat. Nothing that's raising my hackles.
Good. If you happen to see Carter again, just let him know that I'm keeping an eye on him. I doubt he'll go backstage again.
Excellent. That's what I want to hear. And he kind of looks at the four of you and is like, I almost feel bad keeping you out of the field and away from all the excitement, but every now and then you have to show up and live out your lives as performers to carry on the charade. Kind of looks around, just kind of shaking his head, like, what a waste type of thing. Do we lose Danielle?
Yeah, she said connection of Discord. She was typing in the Roll20.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Keywell. All right, I'll give her a second before we continue. Otherwise, so as we kind of continue the game, we'll go. One of the things I'll kind of start to expect of you is like, instead of kind of going over what are you using, tell me what you're using. Instead of me having the conversation with you, kind of be prepared for it. Give me an idea of what you're going to do, and we'll make my goal is to have as little like break of the flow of the fiction, because